You guys, I am so stoked about the 28 movie news
Oh, yeah.
coming out June 2025.
Right?
For those who haven't seen it, 28 days later basically invented the fast zombies we see everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
And with Danny Boyle directing, those amazing apocalyptic landscapes he does so well.
It's even bigger than that, actually. It's not one movie. They're doing a full 28 years later trilogy.
Wait, a whole trilogy? No way. This is huge.
Huge for horror fans.
Definitely. And Danny Boyle is back to direct. I can already picture those empty streets and cities. He does them so well.
The craziest part is they already finished filming the second film.
So we might not have to wait a whole year between releases.
Could be.
Okay, my mind is blown. Tell me everything. Cast. Story. Give it to me.
Okay. The cast is amazing.
Yep.
Cillian Murphy is back, of course.
Of course.
But they've added some serious talent.
Break.
Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Wow, okay.
And get this, Ralph Fiennes.
No way.
Yeah, and the rumor is he's playing this super creepy doctor.
Oh, a creepy doctor in a zombie apocalypse.
Oh.
Okay, I am intrigued. Now, is this where we find out what happened to Jim from the first film?
Not quite. This first film goes in a new direction. It's about this young boy
Okay.
who's trying to find a doctor to save his mom. She's dying.
Wow, that's intense. So
Yes.
a new story, but still in that same world. I can't even imagine what this kid's going to face trying to survive in those deserted English landscapes.
Yeah, and here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
The second film is called 28 Years Later, Part 2, The Bone Temple,
Okay.
and it picks up right where the first one leaves off.
Interesting. So sounds like they're making one continuous story across 3 movies.
That's the plan.
Before we go any further, let's recap for anyone who needs a refresher. So in 28 days later, it seemed like, they beat the rage virus, but then 28 weeks later showed us it was back with a vengeance.
And 28 weeks later showed us something else, too.
Oh.
The virus got out and spread to mainland Europe.
Oh, right.
So 28 years later, who knows how far it's gone?
It's wild to think about. And then there are those set photos with NATO soldiers. So Britain's clearly still struggling with the outbreak after all this time.
Still a problem after 28 years.
I need to know what the world even looks like now, 28 years into this whole pandemic nightmare.
One of the writers has been talking about the themes,
Oh, yeah.
landscape, humans, and nature. So it seems like they're going to really explore how the world's changed and adapted.
Makes you think about those asymptomatic carriers, right?
Mm.
And the mutations from 28 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Could those be factors in the new trilogy? Could the virus be even scarier now?
I mean, 28 years is a long time.
Definitely enough time for things to change.
For sure.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. June 20th, 2025. Can't come soon enough.
I'm with you there.
This has the potential to be a game changer for zombie movies.
Definitely.
All right, BuzzReel's crew. What are your predictions for 28 years later? Will we see crazy new infected? What will the world even look like after 28 years of this virus?
So many questions.
Tell us what you think in the comments below.
We're dying to know. It's wild to think about the impact 28 days later had.
Wow.
I mean, before that, zombies were slow, shuffling creatures.
Totally. It was like night and day. Suddenly, zombies were fast, aggressive, scary. I remember jumping out of my skin the first time I saw those infected sprinting.
Oh, yeah. The rage, that animalistic ferocity. It really tapped into this primal fear, of losing control, becoming less than human.
Exactly. That's what made those first 2 films so good. It wasn't just about surviving. It was about holding on to your humanity in the face of pure chaos.
Absolutely. And Boyle, the way he used those deserted landscapes to show that isolation and vulnerability, brilliant.
The cinematography was amazing.
Yeah.
So beautiful but unsettling. With the screenwriter talking about landscape, humans, and nature, I bet we'll see more of that in this trilogy.
For sure. What really gets me is how they'll handle 28 years.
Right. That's a huge chunk of time.
Societies could rise and fall. The environment would be totally different. The possibilities are endless.
What about the animals? How did they react to the virus?
Exactly. The virus could have jumped species, creating these mutated creatures. The world might be unrecognizable.
Okay, now my mind is racing. The changes, the new threats. It's both exciting and kind of terrifying.
This trilogy could be groundbreaking, not just for zombie movies, but for cinema. It could be a deep dive into human resilience, adaptation, and survival itself.
And don't forget the political side of things. With NATO involved, there could be power struggles, maybe even a new world order.
Yeah, think about it. Collapsed governments, fighting for resources, potential for tyranny.
This is shaping up to be way more than just blood and guts. It feels like it's going to make us think question things.
Yeah.
Maybe even make us a little uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's what great art does, right? It challenges us, pushes us out of our comfort zones, makes us see the world differently.
And with this team, Boyle, Garland, and this cast, I have no doubt they'll deliver something amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what else gets me excited? Remember how 28 weeks later ended with that shot of the infected spreading across Europe?
Yeah.
This new trilogy might finally show us what happened to the rest of the world.
Whoa, that's true. Did the virus reach America? Asia? Is it anywhere safe?
So many questions to answer. It's a global mystery.
I am so ready. June 2025. Hurry up and get here. Maybe I should rewatch the first 2 films to get ready.
Me too. It'll be fun to see them again, knowing what we know now about the new trilogy. We might even pick up on hints or foreshadowing we missed.
Totally. And those photos with NATO soldiers? What's the scale of this outbreak now? Is it contained, or is it a global pandemic?
We saw how fast it spread in the first 2 films. 28 years is a long time for it to mutate and change.
Right. It could be way worse now.
The ultimate survival test.
Okay, that's scary to think about. What about that creepy Dr. Ralph Fiennes is playing? Any theories on him?
He's definitely hiding something. I'm getting mad scientist vibes. Maybe he's messing with the virus.
Like trying to find a cure or a weapon.
Maybe both?
Whoa. Imagine if he's created some kind of human-infected hybrid.
Well, we did see those infected chimps in the previous films.
True. So it's not impossible. Imagine these monstrous creatures, part human, part infected.
Pure nightmare fuel. It would raise so many questions ethically. What if those hybrids still have some of their humanity left?
It blurs the lines between human and monster.
Yeah.
Makes you question your own judgment.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about this franchise. It's not just about zombies. It's about us, about how we react in extreme situations.
For all the darkness and horror, there's always that glimmer of hope, that feeling that humanity can survive.
I agree. And with all the crazy stuff happening in the world today, maybe we need that kind of story right now.
A story about resilience, fighting for what you believe in no matter the odds.
And sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the ones with fangs and claws, right? They're the ones inside us, the ones that feed on our fears.
So true. And speaking of human stories, let's talk about the cast. Cillian Murphy is back, which is amazing.
Huge.
But adding Jodie Comer and Aaron Taylor Johnson, that's next level.
A dream team. I can't wait to see their characters. I bet Jodie Comer will be some badass survivor, maybe a leader.
I can totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson, maybe he's this morally gray character, someone who'll do anything to survive.
Yeah, he has that intensity that would be perfect. And let's not forget Erin Kellyman. She was incredible in Willow.
Oh, she was amazing.
Yeah.
I think she'll surprise everyone. This could be her breakout role. It's great to see such a talented and diverse cast.
It shows the power of the 28 franchise, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how their characters connect. Will they be friends, enemies? Who knows?
The possibilities are endless. I can't wait to see these actors bring those characters to life.
This is going to be epic. And you know what else I've been thinking about? That title for the second film, 28 Years Later, Part 2, The Bone Temple.
Yeah, what is that about?
It's creepy, right?
Temple makes you think of something sacred, holy fan. But then you add bone, and it becomes dark, sinister.
Chills, right?
Makes you think of some ancient ritual, maybe with the infected, or maybe it's a place where the infected have gathered, like a hive mind.
What if it's a place where they're bringing the dead back to life, creating more infected?
Okay, now I'm officially creeped out. But that's what I love about this trilogy. It's already making us theorize and debate. It's just good storytelling.
It gets our imaginations working overtime. And with the title, like The Bone Temple, we're definitely in for some dark stuff in that second film. I'm excited and scared at the same time.
Me too.
It's
It'd be one wild ride. It's crazy that this is all happening over 20 years after 28 Days Later came out.
Right. It shows how much of an impact that film had. It's a classic, a blueprint for zombie movies. And now, this trilogy has the chance to change everything again.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
I love that. It captures those themes of survival, rebirth, and that human spirit that just won't quit. And honestly, with everything going on in the world today, maybe we need a story like that.
A story that reminds us there's always hope, even when things are dark.
A message about being resilient, fighting for what matters, even when it seems impossible. And, sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones with claws and teeth.
Right.
They're the ones inside us, feeding off our fears and weaknesses.
That's so true. 28 always forces you to look at those inner demons.
It makes you ask yourself, what would I do in that situation?
It holds up a mirror to our own humanity, both the good and bad.
Exactly. And in a world that feels so chaotic and uncertain, maybe that's the kind of story we need.
A story that challenges us, makes us think, Reminds us that we're all connected.
Maybe this trilogy will give us a glimpse of a better future, a world rebuilt after the destruction.
That's a great thought. But before we get too optimistic, let's talk about the survivors. We've talked in infected, viruses, the world, but what about the people who have lived through 28 years of this nightmare?
Oh, good point. What kind of people could survive that? What are their stories?
They've seen horrific things, experienced unimaginable loss, made impossible choices just to stay alive.
They must have developed insane survival skills, both physically and mentally.
They'd have to be resourceful, tough, maybe even a little ruthless. I wouldn't want to mess with them.
Nope, not at all. They're the ultimate survivors, the ones who looked into the abyss and fought their way back.
I bet their stories are incredible. I can't wait to meet these characters, to learn about their journeys.
They're going to be just as interesting as the infected themselves. Maybe even more complex, because ultimately, this isn't just a zombie story. It's a human story.
It's about what it means to be human when everything is falling apart.
And that's what resonates with audiences. It's a reflection of our fears, our hopes, our capacity for both darkness and light.
You're so right. 28 isn't just entertainment. It's a cultural phenomenon. It reflects our anxieties and our dreams.
Absolutely. And with this new trilogy, it could become even bigger, a defining movie experience for a new generation.
It's going to be epic. I love how we're already picking it apart, analyzing every little detail. But you know what I'm most excited about?
What's that?
The fact that we have no clue what Boyle and Garland have planned.
True. We have some hints, but ultimately, we're going in blind.
They could flip everything we think we know on its head. That's what makes it so exciting. It's like a leap of faith into the minds of two geniuses.
I'm ready to take that leap. Bring on the surprises, the twists, the mind-blowing moments.
I think we'll be talking about this trilogy for years to come. It's going to change everything.
Agreed. I just have one more question.
Sure.
What about the overall tone? Will it be as dark and bleak as the first two, or will there be more hope?
That's a good question. The world they're showing us is dark and dangerous. But even in darkness, there's always room for human connection, for love and compassion.
You're right. It's a balancing act. 28 has always been about choices, about who we become when faced with the worst.
I'm hoping they explore the psychological impact of the outbreak more deeply in this trilogy.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. How does long-term exposure to violence and trauma change you? How do you hold on to your sanity, your identity, your purpose when everything you know is gone?
I'm hoping they answer those questions.
Ah,
It would make the characters so much more relatable, more human,
Yeah.
and the stakes would be higher. It wouldn't just be about surviving the infected, it would be about surviving ourselves.
it'd be a battle for humanity itself. And I think that's why 28 is so relevant today, because we're all facing challenges, from climate change to political instability.
We're all trying to figure out how to survive, how to be resilient, how to be human in a world that's changing so fast.
And maybe this new trilogy will give us some answers, or at least some guidance.
I hope so.
It's really interesting to think about,
What's
faith and spirituality after an outbreak like this. It's a whole new world, right? How do people find meaning when everything they believed in is gone?
Yeah, that's deep. Do they cling to those old beliefs, or do they search for something new?
Right? Do they find comfort in religion, or do they reject it all?
I bet we see a whole mix of reactions.
Yeah.
Some folks doubling down on their faith, finding strength there.
While others might completely lose it, seeing the outbreak as proof that there's no higher power, no plan.
It'll be interesting to see those different viewpoints play out. It'll add another layer to the characters.
Definitely. Because faith, it shapes how we see the world, our whole understanding of things.
Okay, ready for another mind bender? What about kids born after the outbreak? Imagine growing up knowing nothing but a world with infected.
Whoa, yeah. They wouldn't have the same memories, the same terror as those who lived through those first 28 days.
They might be tougher, more adaptable, just used to it. Or maybe they're more vulnerable, more scarred by a lifetime of this.
Either way, their view of the world would be completely different.
Think about it. Their culture, their slang, their whole perspective shaped by this reality.
It would be amazing to see how they interact with the older generation, the ones who remember the world before.
A true culture clash. Survivors versus the born-into-it generation. Could be some serious drama.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of drama, we can't forget the stars of the show, the infected.
Right. Gotta talk about the infected.
They're what makes 28 what it is. I'm hoping they do something fresh with them in this trilogy.
Something scary, something that will keep us on the edge of our seats.
The science behind the virus has so much potential. Think about how it's mutated over 28 years.
New strains, new types of infected. with different abilities, different weaknesses.
Keep us guessing, keep us scared. I also want to know more about their psychology.
Yeah, what's going on in those minds? What drives them? Is there any humanity left?
Are they mindless? Or is there a spark of consciousness in there? A glimpse of the person they used to be?
It would add such a tragic element, right? To remember they were once human.
It would. I can't wait to see what they do with the infected.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Okay. Beyond all the specifics, the plot, and characters, what I'm really looking forward to is the mood, the overall feeling of this trilogy.
I know what you mean. The first two films had this really unique vibe, so bleak, gritty, and suspenseful.
Totally. I want that same feeling of dread, like anything could happen. That constant unease.
The setting plays a big role in that, right? Those deserted landscapes, the empty cities.
They really create that atmosphere.
Yeah.
I wonder what new locations we'll see in this trilogy.
Underground bunkers, abandoned hospitals, who knows?
What about underwater? With infected, that's terrifying.
Oh, I know, right? And the sound design, too, the screeches of the infected, the pounding footsteps, the silence.
Those details are so important. They make you feel like you're right there in the middle of it all.
A truly immersive horror experience.
I am both excited and terrified. June 2025 can't come soon enough.
I'm with you there. We've covered a lot today.
We have.
And I think it's safe to say we're both pretty hyped about 28 years later.
Definitely. It has it all. A great director, a great writer, a phenomenal cast, and a story that's both scary and makes you think.
And it builds on two amazing films that really changed zombie movies forever.
This trilogy could change everything again. Push the limits of horror and stay with us long after we've seen it.
I can't wait to see what impact it has.
June 20th, 2025. If you're a horror fan, or if you just love a good story, mark your calendars. This is one you won't want to miss.
Not at all.
Until then, keep the conversation going. Let us know what you're hoping for, what you're afraid of, what you think this world will look like after 28 years.
Yeah, drop your thoughts in the comments below.
We can't wait to hear them.